Hello, thanks for tuning in and welcome to the pool party. I hope you can swim because we're definitely diving into the deep end with a huge splash of truth, facts, evidence, information, and proof. Swim. Say what you mean. It's talk about talking. How we listen, how we hear, how we speak, how we hear what we're listening to when we speak, how a listener hears what we're saying, if what we're saying, what they're actually hearing and or understanding. Is it clear? Swim. Say what you mean. Well, that's just the beginning of understanding, because after we get that understanding, how do we accept it? How we respond if it's not what we expect is paramount. Are you okay with the truth? Are you man, woman, human, or spiritual enough to accept the truth? Let's find out. Welcome to the SWYM-ing Pool with your host, Travis Bridges.
Hey, what's happening, friend? I am your host. Oh man, am I on the wrong camera? How did that happen? I gotta do it like this now. Whoa, and now, wow, that's okay. You know what? If you know what I know, you would probably be giving me a little short, small break right now. Because guess what? I was working right up to the second before this live stream came on. I did interviews like a couple days ago. I had some stuff canned and I had some stuff live. And I've been working like a slave up until just like a few minutes ago. I mean, like we're talking just like seconds. Talk about pressure. That would be me. Well, it's Wednesday night and I am on. Welcome to the SWYM-ing Pool. SWYM, it's the acronym for say what you mean. Let me ask you a question. Are you saying what you mean? Are you meaning what you are saying? Are you getting through to people? Are they getting through to you? Are you having healthy conversations? Are you healthy? Those are all questions. Answer me. Send me an email at travisbridges2@aol.com. That's Travis Bridges and the number dos at aol.com. Tell me what's on your mind. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm none of that stuff. I've just had some experiences in life, and I kind of sort of like to analyze situation. I like to weigh information for clarity, for relevance, for truth, for facts, and then, of course, after you get that information, you have to be okay with what you find. Many times people are just not okay if they don't like it. It's not my fault. I have to deal with it sometimes. Sometimes I don't like something. I still have to deal with it. As I said, I have two guests tonight and I have two topics. It's kind of like one. I'm going to talk to a vegan, and then I'm going to talk to someone who believes in vegan and vegetarian, but they're not a vegetarian or a vegan. They are actually a meat eater, someone in the fitness industry. So it's going to be very interesting, and guess what? It's going to go over tonight. I'm going to be like an hour and 20 minutes, so go ahead and tell me I ain't staying up for you. Well, you can watch it another time if you are tuning in later right now and this is like, you're later. I'm okay with that. I appreciate it. I'm just getting a bunch of content and one day it just may be worth something. But right now I'm just doing what I'm doing. Got a lot of plans. I'm back in the Hollywood home studio and all is well. I'm excited. I'm happy. And I already told you what the topics were. I have two guests. But I want to talk about something that happened today, something crazy. I was sitting in this little restaurant. I went to a town hall, like kind of sort of community meeting today. And I actually got up and I spoke and I said, hey, I'm Travis Bridges and I've got some concerns, and I voiced my opinion and I sat right on down and I listened to some other things. And it was cool to kind of participate and be a part of my community, the action that's going on in my community. I will encourage you to do the same thing wherever you live, whatever you do. Get involved. You don't have to be a politician to have your voice heard. When they have these meetings, go stand up, say something. it's what I did. Hey, Christine, Anthony Morrow, where you been, Amp? Haven't seen you in a while. Kimberly is with me. Thank you so much. And I have a few more people. I really, really appreciate it, man. I'm really getting excited. And this is kind of sort of like therapy for me. I go through stuff, man. And lately I've been going through some stuff. And, this is like, that part of the week, outside of gigs. I had a gig on Monday night. I had a gig last week. I have a couple more coming up. So things are starting to pick up and I'm really excited about that. So when I'm not playing my saxophone, I have to find something to do outside of the few spots that I have here and there. But coming in on Wednesday night, turning on the microphone, getting in front of the camera. Some days I don't feel like it. Some days I'm aggravated. Some days I'm just feeling sad and down. But just before that mic comes on, just before that clock says 8:59 and some change, I somehow get some energy, and here I am. I'm excited about it. But I was watching something while I was sitting in a restaurant. I after that meeting, I stopped by this place and then came on the TV. Breaking news. Just in, there was and then I looked up to see what it was, and there was a police chase. And I was sitting there going, oh, my God, my jaws was packed like this. I was eating. But, of course, I guess that's why the news stations do it. When there's a police chase, they stop whatever programming is on, and then they go to that chase, and then you get to sit there and you watch it. So whatever you're doing, when you see one of those chases, if you're like me, maybe I'm nosy, or maybe I'm just, excited and want to see what happens. So I was sitting there thinking, who is that? What are they running from? What did they do? Do they not see those helicopters and all those police officers? Have they not seen all the other chases? It usually doesn't end well for the one that's being chased. But I can only imagine, when you're caught up in the moment and there you are, you have to do something. And if you think you can get away, I guess that's what they're doing. But with that being said, the thoughts that were going through my mind, I was like, I'm going to share this with my audience tonight. What I was thinking was like, man, they're outnumbered by all these police cars and this helicopter. I wonder what it would be like if they got away. Because there's something inside, when somebody's, panicking there going, you don't want somebody to do something bad and then not pay for it. But part of me says, man, I kind of sort of wanted them to get away. And then here's the one thing. Everybody says this. And if you're looking in this, watching me right now or listening to me and you don't say this, you need to go check yourself. I was thinking while it was going on, Lord, don't let them be black. Is that bad? Because I look at TV, not a lot, but when I do, I see a lot of images, of people that look like me. And I tell you, I have a problem with that because I see a lot of images that look like me on TV with bad stuff. There's a crime over here. There's a shooting over there. There's a something over here. And then they show the black person's face up there like this. And I don't guess that's racist. There's just, I don't even know what to call it. Now I'm out here on this ledge and I don't know how to get away from it. So I'm just going to just talk myself through it. There's just something that comes over me that just kind of feels bad. And then when you watch all this stuff that happens, particularly with the police, and then there's some kind of injustice, it's like there's something in the subconscious mind of people who see that all the time that sort of kind of subconsciously says, well, they deserve it because they're always doing something bad. And I'm kind of sort of not afraid of that, but just concerned about that. If all of these images are just plastered there, then when someone is, truly innocent and, it's already been programmed in your head. But with that being said, I'm going to try to slide out of that and I'm going to go and I'm going to take my little shout break. Since I've been talking a lot, I'm going to, take a real short break and I'm going to come back. It's going to be a little long tonight, but it's good, really good information. I put a lot of work in there and I'm excited, man. I'm doing something I'm saving them on my file as narrations. And, they're a part of my writings. By the way, speaking of writings, my book is, it's really starting to shape up. And as I'm looking at some of that stuff, I'm like, wow, man, I said that, I thought that, where was I? And I kind of know what motivated, me to write from a long time ago. But as I'm reviewing it and I'm going over it, it's like, man, it's really going to be interesting. I'm kind of sort of getting nervous because it may or may not impact, people around me. But, I've got to let it out. I spent the whole summer working on it. and it's just about that time. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to take my little short break, and then I'm going to be back, and I have two guests. We're talking about veganism. We're talking about meat in your body or on your body. Good information. Hold the spot you got. I'll be right back.
The Swimming Pool with Travis Bridges is a talk segment about talking. Talk about talking? Yes, talk about talking. It's designed to bring awareness to how we listen, how we hear, and what we do with the information we receive during communication. The mind is automatically programmed to protect the body and soul. It displays that through each and every encounter we experience. If any part of the body is threatened, the mind will automatically issue the flight command. The flight command to retreat to safety. Well, that same command is also deployed when our ego is threatened. The ego, yes, the ego. It's so natural and common, it happens oftentimes without us even knowing. Engaging in conversation and staying focused on what is present is considered mental fitness. It strengthens our emotions and helps us to gain control of our circumstances instead of having our circumstances overtake our thinking and our very existence. It's a difficult task to achieve because our feelings, beliefs, and desires are so strong that it causes us to totally disregard even the most common or basic reasoning. This live stream is only here to bring awareness to that subconscious process. Nothing or no one is actually wrong. However, the idea of being open to anything outside of what we've already concluded is golden, especially if the new information is transparent. The SWYM developers would like to say thanks for supporting, watching, listening, and sharing this information. Now, back to the swimming pool. Let's dive in and swim.
Hello?
What's up, man?
What's going on?
It's all good. This a good time for you still?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you are live right now on my live stream. My live stream is entitled SWYM. It's an acronym for Say What You Mean. We pretty much just talk about talking. The subjects can change and vary, from time to time. So when I get a good subject, I just kind of hone in on it and I just discuss it from various points of view. So I was telling my audience earlier, how we connected, and what you had to say was very important. So I'm going to try to keep you within that time frame I promised. And I want you to tell me a little bit about your veganism. So tell me, first of all, what exactly is a vegan? Because people get it mistaken sometimes, with vegetarian. And I'm going to be honest with you. I've heard the difference, but I can't say I know the difference.
The vegetarians, they consume dairy products as well as any products that contain animal substance. So, for instance, gummy bears. Many people don't know that gummy bears contain bone marrow, which comes from animals.
Mm-hmm.
They extract the bone marrow from animals.
Mm-hmm.
So, vegans will still indulge in products. My bad. Vegetarians will still indulge in products that contain those supplements. As for vegan, we cut it all out. So it's no animal products at all. You wouldn't even use a lotion if it was tested on, depending on how deep into it you are. If it was tested on an animal, or if it had any type of substance that came from an animal.
Right. So you are clearly vegan, not vegetarian.
Yes.
Have you been vegan all your life?
No, I have not. I've not been vegan all my life.
How long have you been vegan?
About 6 years now.
Okay. And in 6 years, you have not even looked at, let alone touched and eaten, digested any animal products. It's just not your thing. You haven't done it even by mistake.
Nope.
Wow.
Not at all.
And do you cook every day, or do you have, family? Maybe, do you cook do you eat from pots every day? Let me ask you that.
Great. What every day?
Do you cook every day? Is your food prepared every day by yourself or someone that prepares food? Do you, because you don't eat out then in that case?
Not so much. I know a couple great vegan places to eat out, but I mostly meal prep.
Okay. Do you think?
Give me some black rice, some beans, collard greens. Meal prep.
Okay. Do you have any health issues at all? And would you say, if you do or don't, do you think it contributes to your way of eating?
No, I don't have any health issues right now.
Okay.
But it does contribute to my energy factor. Before, when I was eating meat, I would be sleepy. You get the itis after you consume a certain amount. And you would probably, most likely just crash. But now that I don't eat meat, my energy levels are through the roof. I would probably run like 7 miles. No warm up, just off the strength.
Right.
All right.
So so I guess I was trying to ask you about. So is it just meat alone, or just animal products you think that gives you that drive?
There's all animal products.
Yeah.
All animal products. Because your body's not designed to consume animal flesh.
I've heard different stories about that. Is there anything at all that supports that? Is there maybe any kind of health condition or anybody at all? Why are, how is that? How did it even come about? I mean, I guess, of course, it's money, but how is
the
it?
Industry become to deal meat?
Right. Well, not just the industry, because, there are many people who don't know this information. They don't know the breakdown and the science behind why the body is not, designed to eat meat. Because there have been people, I've heard many people say, absolutely, we're carnivores because of, if nothing else but that one tooth on the corner with the point on it that says, okay, we're supposed to be able to tear meat. I've heard both stories all kinds of ways. So
right.
How is it that whatever you practice, how is that the right thing? And I'll say right for lack of a better word, for how is that the best way?
It's the best because it gives you the freedom to enjoy your body how you need to. You get to enjoy the full capacity of your brain. When you're consuming meat, it kind of clogs you up, because when you look at the diagram of how our intestines are aligned, we don't have that much room to be squeezing through all that flesh. Our body is immune to consuming water products, water-based products, mostly. So, or if we're able to chew it down to get it to a soluble weight. Other than that, it just clogs you up.
So, okay, I'm going to speak for myself, and I'm sure I'm speaking for a whole lot of people that I know that just, can't and refuse to live without meat. I'm just going to go ahead and admit I've struggled with my weight condition. I'm a bigger person than most people that I know. I'm wider, and I'm not sure if all of that is just, from, an eating habit, or I just may have a bigger frame. You hear people say big bones, and I'm not claiming big bones. But I do have a much larger structure. I'm, taller, than most people that I know, and my shoulder width is wider, and it's not just fat. I think if I even lost, 50 pounds of fat, my shoulders would still be more broad than most people that I know. But what I'm asking you in terms of, information and advice, I'm an old dude now, and I've had these habits for a long time. If I was to just flat out just stop eating meat, how can I expect my lifestyle to change? Could there be any bad side effects? Could my body miss meat so much, or could it change?
No. The only side effects you'll have will be mental. You thinking about the taste of that food.
That's it.
Yeah. You just got to really want it, that's all. Because once you get into the vegan community and you start to really learn what is there to eat and what you can substitute, you're really not missing anything. Like I always tell people, when you eat meat, what do you season it with? You season with herbs, with plants, plants and other plant minerals. So,
I guess I never looked at it like that. Most of the seasonings come from, I guess herbs or whatnot.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, you're just getting the taste of the plant, but you're projecting onto the meat. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Do you miss eating meat at all?
No.
Did you miss it when you switched over to veganism?
Not so much.
What caused you to switch?
What made me make big switches when my grandparents died.
Mm-hmm.
My grandparents raised me from a young age. First, it was my grandmother. She was diagnosed with diabetes, and we would take trips out of town, but we weren't able to really enjoy any of the events we went to trips like that. She would probably have a seizure or, some type of stroke. So we would always have to have the paramedics rush to us to come save her.
Mm-hmm.
After a while, my granddad became diagnosed with cancer. He was fine somewhat, until he started getting on the medicine, the chemo medicine treatment.
Mm-hmm.
That's what really just pushed me to learn what causes diabetes, learn the causes of cancer, to learn the causes of these skin problems we have or any internal problems we have. Led me to the light.
Okay.
Just let me know.
Is your veganism, could you at all compare it to a religion, yes or no?
No.
No. Why not?
You do what's right for you. Do what your body tells you to do.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell people, don't wait till it's too late to have a health issue to say, man, I need to change what I eat.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to think about it. That health issue didn't acquire overnight.
Mm-hmm.
Came from an eating habit.
The reason I ask you about it being a religion is because I find that when people have a strong belief, whether it's good, bad, happy, sad, true or false, when most people have, strong beliefs, they have a way of wanting to, I don't want to say push it, but they want to preach it, so to speak. They want to publicize it. And not saying you're doing that. As I told my audience, I was just sitting there and I just, do what I do. I have a habit of just being nice and friendly and just a cool dude. I love people. I love myself. So when I see people and I get the opportunity to say hello, I'm like, yo, what's up, man? What's happening? And it doesn't matter who it is. Black, white, young, old.
Amazing energy.
Yeah. I just like to, to communicate with people. So, you weren't pushing it, but when I started talking about it, you had no problem, sharing it. So, that's what people do. And I said religion just to see, how you would feel about it. So it's just not a religion, just your way of life.
Yes, that's all it is.
And you do encourage people to practice what you practice, not because it's good for everybody. Or is it just because it's good for you? You believe it's good for everybody.
It is good for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
It's what they choose.
Right.
It's all your preference. I can tell you, hey man, this fruit here, it gives you all the energy in the world. It makes you feel 10 times better than you did yesterday. But if you still want to eat your meat, you can do that.
Right.
It's all your preference, but it all comes down to how you feel. Mm-hmm. After you eat these foods, how your body feels.
You said something to me while we were sitting there that I could not deny because, I almost want to challenge everything if I can. But you said something to me that just really caused me to say, wow, if I can find anything wrong with what this guy's saying, but I couldn't on this. You said, how do you feel after you eat it? And I'm going to tell you, most of the food that I am used to eating, there are times when I'm like a roller coaster, a professional roller coaster. There are times when I'm nailing it. When I'm doing good, nobody can stop me. But when I get off track for whatever reason and I'm doing bad, it's bad. And one thing you said that I could not deny is when I eat food, particularly processed stuff or meat in particular, I feel that downward spiral immediately. But I associate it with, as you call it, the itis. Your body uses that, energy to process food. And that's why I'm a big, I'm strong on fasting. I believe in fasting and giving your body time to heal. And I want to ask you about that before we go. But you said something about how does it make you feel? And I will go ahead on record and say, when I eat animal products, meat in particular, I do feel heavy and I do feel sleepy. And that sleep doesn't just go away. It just stays in my system as long as I'm eating it. So, not saying you weren't right about a lot, but you were definitely right about that. And I'm sure most people that eat meat will have that same testimony, but we're not going to stop, are we?
I don't know. I have no clue.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just here to try to make sure everybody knows what's best for their body. And if they don't take it from word of mouth, then I guess they'll just have to feel it from their body themselves.
Mm-hmm. So you don't try to force it, and you don't try to, fight anybody over it. You just live your lifestyle, and then, you seem to be pretty much fit and in shape and healthy and all that. So I guess you said before you attribute that to your lifestyle. So why would somebody not look at what somebody's doing and learn from it?
Right. Sometimes people are just emotionally attached to the foods that they eat. Have you ever seen the Boondocks?
No.
The animated series.
I think I know of it, but I never watched it enough to be able to comment on it. I know it's a cartoon, and I think it's mostly black people. But I don't know enough about it. So go ahead. What about it?
So there's this one episode where they talk about how African Americans particularly, we have a family that's diagnosed with a food-related disease.
Mm-hmm.
We grieve over them at their funeral. We grieve. And then we go to the repast or whatever, and we eat the same foods that just killed them. And once I seen that on there, I was like, you know what? It's true. That is so true.
Okay, no, it's true. I'm gonna agree with you. I've seen a lot of my family members go and come. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna be a grandfather real soon. But you're right. As soon as we leave the funeral, we go right and dive into those pots. Just out of habit. But I want to ask you something. But you answered part of it. Just now. You said we are emotionally attached to the food we eat, even when we know better. I'm going to ask for some advice for myself, and then I'm going to ask a question for my audience. Okay, let's just say me. I'm the kind of guy that once I'm on something, I'm on it. Once my mind is made up, it's made up. But I know I'm not even going to ask you the question because I know the issue. I'm emotionally attached out of habit of eating certain types of food. But give me some advice, brother. What is the best thing you can say to me right now to help me to get off this fast moving train that I just don't want to be on, but for convenience and even, my emotions. I'm the first one to preach, man, don't you get your emotions and let them control you. But even in this area, it's a struggle for me, and I'm admitting it hands down. And this is my cry for help right now to you. What can you share with me that will help me to stay focused on my health?
First things first, stay hydrated. Water. We're gonna start with the basics. You have to slow it down completely. We gotta take it all the way down to the basics. So the water. First things first is water. You should always have a gallon a day.
Okay, hold on. Just before you go on, I don't mean to interrupt you, but a gallon a day, for me, I've done that many times, and I can do it. But a person who is half my weight can still do that? You do a gallon a day? You're definitely less than half my weight.
Yep, definitely every day, gallon a day.
Wow. Okay, go ahead. A gallon a day. That's the first thing.
A gallon a day, and then you need to get into your fruits. Your fruits is what's going to cleanse out your body. Fruits are used for cleansing, and your vegetables you're going to use for stabilizing the cells in your body. Okay. So first, you want to get on your fast. You said before that you're accustomed to fasting, right?
Yes, right? I believe in fasting. I see the benefit. I feel the benefits when I fast. So, yes, that's not a serious problem for me.
All right. So this is what's going to help you here. It's going to flush out all of the toxins and anything that may be like stuck energy, because everything you consume is energy.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. So that's why you feel the way you feel when you eat meat, because you have to think about the process of it and how, the animals may have passed, or it's all energy.
Mm-hmm.
But fruits will help you flush all of that out. Fruits and water. That's the main thing. They'll give you the energy that you need. You can revitalize brain cells, make hydrate yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't know that when you're 100% hydrated, that's when we actually use 100% of our brain. We use 100% of our brain. They tell us we only use 20%, which is a lie.
Mm-hmm.
The fact is, we use our complete brain. But what stops us from using it actively is when we don't have enough water. Being dehydrated is what does it to us. You have to think about it. We're beings made of, 75% water, mostly?
Mm-hmm.
If you get the water and fruits, that will help you flush out everything. That's
okay, so hold on. Let me just jump in real quick. What I'm hearing you saying is it's not that we don't use it. We can't use it when we're hydrated. Is that what you're saying more of? Of course, I believe it's possible that we don't use it. But are you more saying that we can't use it because of we're usually not hydrated?
No, we use it. We just don't use it to its full capacity due to our dehydration.
Okay, but if we're not hydrated, we can't use it. We use it fully because it's not fully functional.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Is it possible to drink too much water?
I would say maybe 5 gallons, 3 to 5 gallons, maybe.
Right.
Right.
But a gallon is the minimum, even for the average person.
Right.
In a 24-hour period or a 12-hour period.
In a 24-hour period.
Okay. Wow. Well, half of those, not half, 12 of those hours we're probably sleeping, so we can't drink during that. So we have to at least say 12 to 18 hours. No, let's see, 8 to 15 hours. So it's almost good. Is it a good thing to drink while you're sleeping? Wake up and drink water?
If you have a dry throat.
Of course.
Yeah, because you're not supposed to really eat past 8. So water's fine.
Mm-hmm. Why is it that you're not supposed to eat past 8? Is that for, we can cut that short by saying for fasting purposes and giving your body time to rest and heal. Is there something more to that? I hear like when the sun is down, the body does something different. Other than the major benefits of fasting, why not after 8?
Right. Your body, let's see, how can I say this? Your digestive system shuts down around about 7. Every organ has a specific time that they operate at the highest level. Around about 7 o'clock is when everything's like, okay, sun's going down. There shouldn't be no more food coming in right now, so we can kind of like settle everything down and get some rest, prepare to rest.
That is a natural function of the body. Is that a natural function of the body?
Yes, it is. It will store that energy.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is consistent with not our lifestyle. That is consistent with our makeup in general.
Yes. That's just our genetic makeup.
Wow. And there's been studies on that shows how the body shuts down after that time.
Yes. It shows.
Okay. All right. Okay. Now you just said for me basically to start. If you don't mind, I'd like to have you back on and keep in touch. I'm like that cat you feed. You don't get rid of it too easy. So I'll probably be picking your brain here and there for information. And I'll jump back on and try to do a little better. Cutting out meat, I guess I'm going to go ahead and admit it. I can do what I want to do. I guess I haven't, had that bad experience yet to where I want to. But, this is definitely causing me to think about it more. And who knows, maybe I will be able to just cold turkey. No pun intended about turkey, but maybe just, just stop, all of a sudden,
Right.
So yeah, if you don't mind, I'd like to pick your brain, and I want to, stay on time. We're almost out of time. I'd like to, have you back again, and I'll probably call you off record, just to ask you some questions. But, we always have this thing. I'm going to start tomorrow. So tomorrow when I wake up, I'm gonna make an effort to not. Whoa! Before you go, you say animal products. Is fish the better of the evils in terms of flesh? Yes or no?
No.
Wow. Oh my goodness. So eating even fish is not healthy for the body, is what you're saying?
No, because you have to think about what's going on in these times. The water is actually polluted. All the toxins they release into the water, they release trash. There's a lot of mercury in the water these days.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever you consume from that fish had to absorb from the water.
Okay, so if a fish is not, from the water, let's say it's farm raised, or if it's raised in a place where the mercury is low, is any flesh just bad for you flat out? And is fish the lesser of the evils?
No, I wouldn't say it's the lesser. It's all the same.
It's all the same. Wow,
You
I
have
thought
to
I
think
was going to
about
get you on that
parasites.
one.
No, you have to think about parasites. Fish contain parasites, no matter farm raised or not.
Wow. So I guess if these animals that particularly are being raised for consumption and all these fishermen that are out there right now, what do you think would happen to the ecosystem if these animals were not, I don't like to use the word killed off, but I can't think of a better one. If these animals were not recycled, in that way, what would happen? We'd have cows and hogs and chickens everywhere. What would we do with those?
The ecosystem would flourish.
Say it again?
The ecosystem would flourish. See, the thing is, the problem's not the animals, it's the humans.
Okay, no, I want to hear that.
Right. You ever notice you be by, let's say, a stream, some type of lake?
I'm getting some noise in your phone. Go ahead, repeat that again. Have I ever noticed what?
You ever notice when you're by a stream by your house, or a house, and you see ducks? Or maybe even by an establishment where there's fast food restaurants. You have to think about it like this. Where were those animals before this establishment was built? Was there some type of life source for them to feed from? And did they have more, more resources over here? Or did we destroy these resources for them? So as humans, we could probably do a better job of trying to help nature instead of trying to kill it, sell it for money.
Wow. We would definitely need another live stream to get into that, because I hear what you're saying and I know where you're going, but I want to respect your time because I do want you to come back, and I need you to know that if I say a half hour, I'm going to let you out at a half hour. So on that note, man, thank you so much. I have been enlightened. I hope my guest will be able to take something from it. And I guess the word for today is, animal products is definitely not the best thing for us, and we need to find a way to at least do whatever it takes to live healthier lives. So on that note, I'll let you go, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
All right. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you having me.
You got it. We'll talk soon.
All right.
Okay. 10-4.
Mighty Horn Music. Smooth jazz, top 40, R&B, inspirationals, and more. Live from the Hollywood Home Studio. Like, share, subscribe. And thanks for tuning in.
Hey, champ.
Hey, man. What's cracking?
How you doing?
Not bad. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I got you.
Oh, okay. Good. How you been, man?
Good. Are you down in now?
No, I'm back in Hollywood, and I'll definitely have to buy you a coffee or a tea to tell you about that. But
okay.
I'm going to be
All
back.
right.
I'm going to be back for a while, probably maybe another year. Got some stuff I need to deal with. I went down there. I learned a lot. I grew a lot. I got more information that I probably should have had before I went the first time, but nothing was wasted because I did write a book. The book is 97% finished. I'm kind of shopping now, deciding if I'm going to get a publishing company or if I'm just going to do it myself. 99.999% I'm going to do it myself because it's information that I'm not trying to make money on, but I believe it's more educational than, for profit for me. No doubt that it will probably make money because it's interesting, but that's not the goal. That's not the motive behind publishing it. So I don't think I want to split any money with anybody who wants to get their greasy paws in my pockets. Not that I wouldn't take a good deal, but it's just not the focus. So before the year is out, there will be a book that will say, when you read it, now I understand who this guy has been all these years. So I'll answer some of those questions that may be in the back of your head.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
Thank you for taking a moment to be on my live stream. It was last moment. I tried to get you a few weeks ago and you weren't available. But patience is a virtue. So now here we are, and I'm going to get right into it. I had a guest on a few minutes ago, and we were talking about vegan eating and non-meat eating. I've known you for a lot of years, and just so you know, my live stream is talk about talking. I just talk about any subject, random subject. It doesn't matter who it is. We don't mention names, so nobody will know who you are unless they recognize your voice. I don't plug names, businesses, titles, positions, locations, anything like that. As far as the audience know, it's just two dudes talking. But before I go any further, I do want my audience to know that you are one of the most highly respected people that I know in the fitness industry, which is why I think you are perfect for this part of my live stream. So let's get right into it, man. Let's get right into it. What is your thought on a vegan diet?
Well, my thoughts, depending on the exact way that you're asking the question or who's asking the question or why, I have several answers for that. I mean, as far as vegan eating, or veganism, my first thought is, well, that's a very difficult lifestyle. That is, and I think when I say it, it's because a lot of people don't understand the difference between being a vegetarian and a vegan. First of all, I think vegan has just become the catchphrase for what a lot of people consider being vegetarian. But if you actually break it down, to be a vegan is to make sure that you eat no animal products, that you wear no animal products, that you're not interacting with any animal products on any level in your lifestyle. That is a true vegan. And when that comes down to it, like I said in my first opening sentence, a very difficult lifestyle. But for a lot of people, that's the lifestyle that they choose. It's, in my opinion, it's very extreme, only because of the fact that a lot of people have to go through their wardrobe, and now they have to get rid of those leather shoes. I'm sorry, but you can't be a vegan and wear leather shoes.
That's true.
You can't be a vegan and wear a lot of different type of clothing that come from animals. So you gotta dig, peel the layer of onion back a few times to see, do you really want to be a vegan? Now, as far as the vegan eating is concerned, I think that's why it has, like I said, in the mainstream, it's become the catchphrase. And only because I think a lot of food becomes labeled as vegan. And so they think vegan, vegetarian, it's all the same, but it's not all the same if you are a strict disciplinarian of the vegan lifestyle. And I always say the vegan lifestyle because for vegans, it's not just about the food. Okay, they take it to the extreme. Now, as far as the vegan, as far as eating vegan, here's how I determine, or here's my view on eating in general. Whatever niche or whatever temple, I say temple, meaning that whatever you want to follow, there are so many different labels now. There's the keto, there's the, the mainstream diet, there's paleo, and all these different labels.
Yeah.
Yeah. And most of the time, it's only the true people that really understand these labels that are following these labels. Most of the time, the other people are kind of like mixing different things together and calling themselves that without being aware.
Convenient.
So if,
probably conveniently.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, exactly. So, as far as eating a vegan diet, hey, go for it. If you feel as though that's what works for you to keep you healthy, I'm happy for you. Now, I, in my lifetime, because I've dieted so many different ways, and that's, partly because of my bodybuilding career, and partly because of I experiment when something comes up in my industry and it seems like they may have a valid point. Well, the first thing before I start preaching it to anyone or talking about it is I try it for myself.
Okay.
And I became a vegetarian, not vegan, but a vegetarian for a year. And in my self-experiment, this was many years ago, and I do have to prefix that with this. At the time when I was a vegetarian, the vegetarian market was just beginning. So now there is a vegetarian, alternative for every type of food. At the time when I did it, there was not.
Right.
Okay, so I want to make that clear. Now, what happened when in my experiment, I found that, hey, it wasn't so bad being a vegetarian. But here's what I did find that I know for me, I was not going to do it long term. Now, I kept very meticulous records while I was a vegetarian, and my strength decreased.
Increased or decreased?
Decreased.
Decreased, okay.
Okay, my strength decreased, and it was noticeable for me only because I kept very meticulous records, like I said. So, to give you an example, I'm going to make it so everyone can understand. So my bench press went from, let's say, 350 to a 300. Okay.
Real quick, how long did that take for you to decrease? How much time?
It was probably, I started to see the decrease after 5 months.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, so 5 months, by the time I was in it around the 7th month, that's when it was solid that there was a very, a good 20 to 25 pound decrease in my list overall. And the other thing was there was really no other noticeable decreases in anything else that I did. I was still, actually teaching boot camp, things of that nature. But that was the only noticeable thing different for me. Now, when I say for me, that I lift weights a lot. So it was, like I said, after 7 months, it was a noticeable decrease in that aspect. And other than that, if that person or someone wants to follow a vegetarian diet, I see nothing wrong with that. Everyone has to find whatever is going to work for them to be healthy. I have found for me that it's a mixture. So meaning that most of the time right now I follow a plant-based diet. Okay, and it also depends on your lifestyle environment. For instance, I follow a lot of gluten-free protocols, not because I have a problem with gluten, not because I don't think that gluten is okay for people, but because my wife is gluten-free. So by proxy, a lot of times I'm gluten-free.
Right. By default.
It just happens that way. It's like, hey, I made this, lasagna. Okay, but it's gluten-free. Oh, well, it is what it is.
There you go. So, eat it.
I'm eating. I'm still going to eat it, right? So, so that's where, I tell people, eating and fitness are very personal things, and you just got to find what's going to work for you.
Okay, real quick, yes or no question, then we can go into it. In terms of eating meat, based on your experience, your knowledge, based on what you know about the human body, is the human body designed to consume and digest meat? Yes or no?
Absolutely it is.
Okay.
The difference between the animal kingdom and the human kingdom is this. If you look at nature, if you look at what God put on this earth and go out and observe the animal kingdom, you will see that one out of probably 10,000 people on the planet pre-industrial revolution that was a vegan. Okay? Because the products, the lifestyle was just not available for them.
Okay, hold on. Let me just jump in. Let me jump in one moment on that.
Ahead.
For just for the sake, there's this saying, and I like to say it because if you look at that time you were talking about, that information wasn't available, some of that study wasn't available, and I like to use this terminology: when you know better, you do better. Not saying that's better, but it is different information, and as we evolve, we get different information, and I guess that's how things are birthed. But again, I still, even with that information, how do we know what's good and what's best?
Well, what's good and what's best at this time in the world in which we exist, what's good and best, now you have to finish that with whatever is good and best for you.
Oh, I knew it was coming.
Because now we have the availability of a lot of data, of a lot of vegetarian products. Right? We can see that, yes, in today's world, a person could completely sustain themselves being a vegetarian and or vegan. Now, here's the thing that what a lot of them still don't want to understand, but me on the the physiological spectrum from science know that they still have to supplement a lot of their omega fats and B12 vitamins, because no matter what damn vegetarian or veganism they're going to do, they are going to be lacking in a lot of minerals and fats that do not come from their diet. So you get ready to supplement, and like I said, there's nothing wrong with supplementation, but don't try to pretend, especially for a lot of women. When women get to be over or start to go through menopause and the hormonal changes, there are things that those vegetarian and vegan women will not be able to consume in the diet only, and they must turn to supplementation.
I guess that alone is why the supplement industry is huge. Women over 35 or 45 for sure.
Well, the supplement industry is huge because the supplement industry, by and large, sells hope. They sell hope and they sell vanity. And if you are selling hope and vanity, you will never go broke.
Absolutely. Which brings me to another point that I want to talk. We're going to get off that for a moment. And I just want to talk about, diet, exercise in terms of health. I've known you for a long time. And again, for my listeners, you are one of the most respected people I know in the health and fitness industry. And thank you for all the stuff that I've learned along the way. I haven't always been as disciplined, which is why I want to change gears with the little time we have left. What I want to ask you now is in regards to the way certain people are built. Now, this is going to get tricky, and I know you. Mm-hmm. I know when it's time to preach, you're going to stand up, especially when it comes to this. So I want to be careful, and I want to move slow. I am convinced over time that a person's DNA, their body makeup, their genetics, really has a lot to do with how they either consume and process and how their bodies look like. If everybody looked like the bodybuilding world, this world would be different. If everybody looked like my 600-pound life, this world would be different. There has to be a line. I know that diet and exercise will definitely keep you healthy and keep you strong and keep you fit. I know that without a doubt. But is it even true or possible? Are some people just built different? And before you answer, I want to say this. I observe people all the time. I have always been conscious. If I could look like Lou Ferrigno, I would have done it a long time ago. It's just not who I am, but it's a dream inside my head that I always thought I would look like that one day. But right. I look at some people who have very slim bodies, and I say to myself, okay, this is a 35-year-old guy. He weighs 112 pounds. He's like 5'11", and he might be able to put some muscle on, but he's probably not going to look like Lou Ferrigno in the next 10 or 12 years. Not saying he can't, but it's going to be unlikely. Mm-hmm. Then I'll look at someone who's 385 pounds, just loaded with just tons of body fat, and I say they're probably not going to look like this guy. And if they did, it's going to be with some effects, because when people are, especially when they have the gastric surgery, their bodies get smaller, but they don't get rid of this fat that's going on. So here's my question with all that in mind. Is there a difference? Is there a genetic or a body type that is just never going to reach that place of this dream hope that we all have of wanting to be slim waist, broad shoulders, just full of just muscle? Is there a difference in how people are built genetically? Yes or no? And then you can explain.
Well, absolutely there are. I mean, there's, the genetics is a huge part. Now, you've asked me a lot of things in which I have to unpack, and forgive me if we go over time, but I think
No. I've got time if you do. I'm being mindful of your time, so we're good.
All right. Okay, so here, let me unpack this the best way I know how. Okay. Genetics. Now, before genetics get involved, there's a thing called geographical dietary guidelines, or if you will, what your DNA, what your geographical DNA is used to consuming for your physiological body. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'll go back to the previous thing.
Go ahead.
Yeah, let me go back for a second to the previous thing of, could vegans, that whole vegan situation. Well, tell you what, let's go back to Alaska in 1899 and see if there would be a vegetarian or vegan that could survive in Alaska or any of those cold, barren places. There ain't no damn things growing. What are they going to eat? They're going to eat the snow? No, because I tell you why. The Inuit, Alaskan Eskimo people, 65% of their diet was fat from whale blubber, from sea otter, from the mammals they were able to kill and catch, right?
Right, animals.
That they could eat, right? So their genetic DNA, so to speak, going back, and I'm going back thousands of years to present time. Well, when you look at a true Eskimo or the Inuit people, these people have a way that their bodies process fat differently than someone that's coming from the Americas, okay, or further south where it's warmer, or Africa, okay. Let's jump over to that continent, because the fact of the matter is, some of the tribes in Africa that carry such small body fat, they look like a bunch of sprinters. They look just like they look like 100-meter runners, all of them. How is that possible? Well, go back in the history and back and see what they ate. They ate protein, animal products, and they ate vegetarian. They were both. They would eat vegetables and protein. That's it. Vegetables and protein, because that was available to them. Their bodies, over time, physiologically, was able to assimilate those things better. Now, let's come back over to the United States and take the indigenous Native American. Do you know why in the movies when they would depict the Indians as drinking fire water? Oh, because they drink a little alcohol and they become crazy. Well, that's because the Native American does not have the enzyme to break down alcohol the way the rest of us do. And a little bit of alcohol makes them drunk, okay, before anyone else would be drunk. Okay, so the white European comes over, here, have some of this. This is good stuff. And, the Native American, the Indian tries it, one sip, and 30 minutes later, he's looping. He wants to dance. Okay? So these are things in which people do have to understand, as far as you need to understand your ethnic background and geographical DNA, so to speak. If you come from Ireland, we know there's going to be a better chance for your body to assimilate potatoes differently than that Eskimo up in Alaska. These things are science. This is not mumbo jumbo or keto or paleo. This is just science, how a person's individual, biochemistry works. Now, I'm sorry, I got off track. The thrust of the question was
genetics.
What again?
The genetics.
The genetics.
Are people
Okay.
built differently?
Yes. Right. Yes. People are built differently because the genetics plays a huge role in everything. Okay. If we just look at sports, all right. There's no way in hell that Shaq was ever going to be a jockey. Okay.
Right.
Because jockeys can't be more than basically 5'1" and no more than 120, 122 pounds. Okay,
I think
that's
it's more
it.
like 116, 118. You're giving 2 pounds.
I don't know the exact, but you get the idea.
I do.
No matter how much you want to be a jockey, if you grow out of that that parameter, you're never going to be a jockey.
Or you'll lose every race.
So, there's no one's going to pay you to get on their horse when they're going to lose every race because, sorry, you are not the jockey genetics.
Got that.
All right? By the same token, the greatest jockey in the world is never going to be in the NBA. He's not going to make it because every time he puts up the ball, someone's going to smack it into the stands. Okay?
Got it.
Right. So genetics plays a role from that type of thing. Now, let me go a step further.
Part now. Okay, I'm listening.
Now, let me go a step further. Can people have any type of body that they wish to have? They can have the best version of their body for what they wish to have.
I like that.
But here's the second thing. It depends also on where they are in the world. If they are American, the thing that they are fighting in this nation is that, while America always likes to bill itself as the greatest nation in the world, America has one of the worst food supplies in the world.
Wow.
Now, people say to me, oh, what are you talking about? Well, here's what I'm talking about. Yes, we have a bountiful full of, supply of it. There's plenty of food, but the quality of the food is one of the worst in the world. If you go back and try to find pictures of large masses of people from the 70s and just look at what those bodies look like and those physiques look like, and then fast forward to today and find a similar photo of just, hundreds of people, maybe at a festival or a party or, something like that.
A barbecue.
And you will see a drastic difference in the physiques from the 70s to now. And that's because the food became bastardized in this country starting at mid-70s moving forward. There is a body fat, a bloatness to the American physique that comes from just being in America eating the food.
Okay.
People have a bloated look. They're carrying body fat, even though genetically they wouldn't have that if they were eating real food. If they were eating foods that was not chemically overladen. If they were eating food the way they used to farm it in 1975 going backward. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
After that, it's game over. After that, game over. Now the food that we eat is not the same. This is why I tell people all the time, because they'll say to me, we grew up with, why can't I let my kids eat? I say, listen, it's very simple. That we used to eat is not the same that they're eating. That's why. Everyone remembers this commercial. 2 all beef patty, special sauce with cheese, pickles, onions on the 70-seed bun, right?
Mm-hmm. I remember.
But at the end of that commercial, they would say 100% beef. 100% beef. Go try to find the breakdown of the beef now and see if there's 100% beef. You're going to be shocked. There is chemicals in all of their patties and hamburgers that you cannot pronounce.
Wow.
Just look up the ingredients and you will see for yourself. And that's what I'm saying. The food across the board in this nation is not the same food, and thus you don't have the same physiques. So a person, if we start talking about if an American could achieve the ideal body that they want to, first thing is they're going to have to stop eating mass-produced American food. They're going to have to start eating what I call artisan food, or which is organic food. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because the organic food, and with their diet and exercise, then they can achieve the best version of their physique for what they want to do.
Okay.
To give you an example, my body is not ideal for bodybuilding. I don't have an ideal body for bodybuilding because I was a skinny kid all the time. Mm-hmm. Skinny. It was hard for me to gain weight. Mm-hmm. Lifting weights brought that on. Mm-hmm. A lot. I was able to carve out my physique out of a little skinny rod of a kid. Mm-hmm. Right? And whereas you, on the opposite side, you could carve out a physique that's best for you. Would it be Lou Ferrigno, comparable? It could, but that would take a whole lot of work.
Oh, yes.
A whole lot of work. That's the problem.
Right.
So I hope I answered your question.
You definitely answered my question, but I do want to add to that question. So based on what you just said, or an average person, because there are people out there, when you talked about selling hope, it's a big business. But okay, let's just say the average woman that's over 35, that's 240 pounds. Now that's a lot of people. You can go to the mall, the grocery store, you can go anywhere, and you can find that in America. Ask me how I know. I see it all the time. And we're talking about women now. a 37-year-old woman that's 235 pounds. Okay.
Right.
Can she expect to look like a supermodel after her middle torso has been really stretched really far, where you can see, I'm trying not to be mean or body shaming at all, but you've seen these bodies where the lower part of their abdomen is kind of stuffed down in their pants, and then that type of body turn into a swimsuit model? Yes or no?
Well,
without surgery,
without surgery. Okay, so she could turn into a swimsuit model in today's world, because today's world has swimsuit models of all sizes and shapes. So,
well, that's not what I was talking about. That's not what I was talking about. I'm talking about the ones you see on the cover of the magazines when you at the checkout in grocery stores.
Here's the problem with that. Once the human body, and you're talking about a 37-year-old woman, so the biggest component, component there is skin, and skin is a genetic marker. Okay, so what that means is, some people can have, or some women can have 4 kids, and their skin returns. It, recedes back to where it was, right? And then some women can have 1 child, and that skin, you see the stretch marks in it, and everything just explodes, and it doesn't recede back. It stays there.
Right.
And that is a genetic thing. There's nothing you're going to do. This is why a lot of my clients get upset with me, because I tell them the truth. They come in and they got a lot of excess skin underneath their triceps or wherever, and I say to them, they want to know how to make their, make it go away. And I said, and I'm like, listen, what I do is build muscle here. Okay? So we can build the muscle, but I don't know whether your skin's going to recede around that muscle, or whether it's still going to be, very elastic like that, and still hang off of you. I don't know. Look at your grandparents, see what their skin looks like, and then you'll have a better idea. Because there's no trainer in the world that's going to be able to tell you how your skin is going to act once you start to reshape your body.
Right.
And if a trainer does tell you that, they're just lying to your face. They don't want to tell you the truth.
Okay. For the sake of time, I want to ask 1 or 2 more quick questions. And again, I'm going to kind of turn it towards me again, because there's this word that starts with a D, and it's pronounced discipline. Okay? Some people have it, some people don't. Some people get it, and then they'll have it for a little while, and then they just lose it. Some people just don't even try. What would you say and I'm going to speak for myself, if I may steal the spotlight for just a moment. I've been able to, at one time, lose 113 pounds, and my body did recede. I was able to go down, and I didn't need surgery. But then over time, after 113 pounds, I was at one time was happy at how I was. Somehow or another, before I got this, I won't even get into that. But over time, I picked up 40 to 60 pounds over and over about 7 different times when I went through those things. As nice as you can to me, what caused that? What happened? I mean, I kind of know the answer, but I want to hear it from your perspective, because right now I'm trying to get back on the roller coaster. I've been off and on, and I've been off for a few months, and I'm going to throw my excuse in there before you say it. Sometimes when different things are going on in my life, I'll turn to, whatever comforts me for that moment, and food is always my go-to. It's not drugs, it's not alcohol, it's not gambling. It's food. So, and I know I have it in me, but sometimes it just doesn't come out. From your perspective, what is the best way that a person that has, an average level of discipline, what can they do to get on and stay on?
Okay, well, that comes now. What you're asking me has to do with the mental fitness.
Exactly.
This has nothing to do with physical fitness. You see, because the average person that may have some.
Oh man, hold on a second. Stop for a minute. I need 3 seconds to just process what you just said. Because I think even we're a little over time, and if you're okay, I'm okay. But what you just said gave me a humongous answer. Physical fitness and mental. Oh man, that was the nut that needed to be cracked in my head right there. But go ahead, please. Yeah, I'm with you now. Wow.
Because there's a huge chasm between when you let me take you for example. When you were on, your mental fitness, your physical fitness was in line with each other. They were.
Oh my God! I'm standing up. I'm standing up. I was sitting down. I'm standing up. Go ahead.
Everything's working. Okay. All systems are go.
Right.
Now, I have trained so many people that I can definitely tell you that you are not alone when the mental fitness is not on track. When something comes up, and these are life stressors,
right?
That throw someone into a chasm. I don't care what kind of physical fitness you may be doing. The game is over.
Right.
Okay. It's just that the person doesn't know it yet.
Right.
They're kind of like what they call those people on death row, dead man walking.
Right.
You're dead. You just don't know it yet. It just didn't happen yet.
I get it.
It's the exact same thing. I'll share with you a little story that will emphasize this. Guy came to me. Guy was 315 pounds. Guy said he wanted to lose a tremendous amount of weight. I said, all right, we're going to get to it. Train with me for 3 times a week. Okay. After a year and 6 months, his discipline was on track. No problem. Didn't miss an appointment. Was, everything that I told him to do as far as the physical fitness he did. Everything that I told him to do as far as the dietary fitness he did. So, went from 310 pounds down to 186 in 6 months. I mean, I'm not 6 months.
Wait, hold on a second. Wait, tell me that number again, because people like hope and they like numbers.
310 pounds. He went from 310 pounds to 186 in a year and a half.
Okay, a year and 6 months. Okay.
Yes. A year and a half. He went down to 186.
Okay.
He's loving life. He got rid of all his clothes, right? And then, now let me finish. Along the way, he sold his company. Okay? Sold his company, made a boatload of money. Now, because his brother still worked with the company, he was getting inside information on the company. And then he shared this inside information because the company that bought his was a public company.
Okay.
So the company that bought his was a public company, so now this is inside information. He shared it with his little friend, okay? And guess what happened? I'll tell you exactly what happened. They flew down here from New York, knocked on his door one day, and said, hey, mind if we come in? And they came in and laid out their case and said, here's what's going to happen. Either you are going to write a $4 million check right here, right now, or the case that we're laying out in front of you, we're going to move forward with, and you're going to spend about 16 months in the country club jail. Well, what do you say? He wrote the check, okay, and then here's what happened. He canceled his appointment with me. I didn't see him for another 2 years.
Whoa.
And the next time I saw him, he was 365 pounds.
more than the 315 he started with.
Exactly. Now, here's the kicker to that story. The stressor, the trigger was so much in his mind that the mental discipline and fitness was over. Was it?
Got it. Oh my God! You know what, man? I'm
answer to my question.
I got it. I feel like I just hit the lottery with just you sharing that story, because the mental and the physical really. And I've heard this before. You know, there's a word from the Bible that says faith comes by hearing and hearing. You know, I've heard this, but now in this season, hearing it from you at this time really does give me a different insight in this season right now, because I know what that level of stress can and will do. And every time that I got off, it was due to something that went on or that was going on in my life. And I'm, you know, something just flew in my eye right now. I'm kind of getting a little, teary. And I can see that, and that happens to a lot of people. And I think that's what I'm going to do. Just like you've always been there to help me and many people whose lives you have changed and affected. It's like I think I'm gonna let that be a part of my ministry now moving forward, in terms of just, sharing information when I get the opportunity, just to encourage people to know how to stay mentally fit as well as physically fit, because they do go together, man. I don't know how to thank you for that. I really don't.
It's my pleasure. It's what I do.
Wow. I really appreciate that. Go ahead.
That's it. I mean, that's the best way for me to answer your question. I hope you understand.
No, I got it. And that story was lengthy, and it was well worth listening to, but I got what I needed from it. So on that note, I'm just going to say thank you. We did go over time, but I'm going to make it a special. It was very well worth it. Man, I'm going to send you an offering. Now, this is what I think I want to do now. I think I might need to be around you a little bit. I've been putting it off for a long time. So I think I'm going to come over within the next, 3 to 5 days. And I'm going to maybe get a plan, just because you know how I am. If I can just get off the ground, I can fly.
Right.
So with this new information and, with this new mindset that I need to get into, I'm going to come by, I'm going to see you. And again, I don't mention names, but if any of my listeners, want help or information or even training or knowledge or information from one of the greatest fitness people I know in the industry, you can just reach out to me and I'll make sure I get that information. Maybe one day I'll have my live stream to where I can just broadcast and just put all that information out there. But I'm definitely going to come and see you, and I'm definitely going to invest in myself and, at least get on track. So look out for me.
Right.
With that being said, I thank you. I appreciate it. I hope my listeners and viewers, got something out of it, because I certainly did. And I'm going to give you a humongous high five and a big hug when I see you, man. I appreciate you, bro. I really, really do.
All right. It's my pleasure.
You got it. Have a good one, man. Thank you.
Okay.
10-4.
Take care.